On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 vanished from radar screens, and seemingly from the face of the Earth. 239 souls aboard, no mayday, no wreckage, only endless questions. The Boeing 777, a technological marvel of its time, left Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m., destined for Beijing. It was a routine flight, carrying passengers from 14 different nations, all with their own stories, their own hopes, their own dreams. But within an hour, the plane would disappear into the darkness, leaving behind a chilling void that has haunted the world ever since. Today, we delve into the heart of this enigma. We examine the official narrative, explore the unsettling theories, and confront the eerie coincidences that have fueled endless speculation. This is the story of Flight MH370, a tale of mystery, intrigue, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Imagine, if you will, the hushed anticipation of a night flight. Passengers settle into their seats, lulled by the gentle hum of the engines. Stewards and stewardesses make their rounds, their smiles a reassuring beacon in the dimly lit cabin. For those on board MH370, the first leg of their journey was seemingly unremarkable. At 1:19 a.m., the plane entered Vietnamese airspace. Air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur made contact, expecting a routine handover. What they received instead was chilling silence. The transponder had gone dark. Confusion quickly gave way to alarm. Frantic calls to the pilots went unanswered. Radar screens were now eerily blank. A modern airliner had vanished without a trace. The initial search focused on the South China Sea. Ships and aircraft scoured the vast expanse of water, but the sea held its secrets close. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of the missing jet. Then, a breakthrough, or so it seemed. Military radar data revealed a shocking twist. MH370 had not crashed in the South China Sea. It had taken a sharp turn west, flying for hours over the Malay Peninsula. The revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation. Why would the plane deviate so drastically from its planned route? And where in the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean could it possibly be? The mystery of MH370 had just deepened. In the absence of concrete evidence, investigators were left to piece together a narrative from a jigsaw puzzle with most of its pieces missing. The official report, released in 2015, painted a bleak picture. According to their findings, MH370 was deliberately flown off course, most likely by a pilot in control of the aircraft. The report suggested that the plane's transponder was intentionally switched off, followed by a deliberate maneuver to avoid Malaysian military radar. The plane then flew for hours on autopilot before eventually running out of fuel and crashing into the remote southern Indian Ocean. This theory, while offering a semblance of an explanation, left many unanswered questions. What would drive a pilot to commit such a horrific act, and why the silence? No distress calls, no communication with air traffic control, no mayday. It was a silence as deafening as it was perplexing. Some experts have proposed that hypoxia, a lack of oxygen in the cabin, could explain the sudden deviation and lack of communication. They argue that sudden decompression event could have incapacitated the crew, rendering them unable to control the aircraft. However, others dispute this theory, pointing out that a modern airliner like the Boeing 777 is equipped with multiple layers of redundancy and safety features designed to prevent such an event. Furthermore, they argue even in the event of hypoxia, it is unlikely that the plane would have been able to fly for hours on autopilot without any human intervention. The official story, it seemed, raised more questions than it answered. The families of those on board, desperate for answers, found little solace in the cold, clinical language of the report. For them, the mystery of MH370 was far from over. It was a wound that refused to heal, a constant ache fueled by the lack of closure. As months turned into years, and the official investigation yielded no definitive answers, a fertile ground for speculation emerged. Theories, some more plausible than others, began to circulate, each attempting to fill the void left by the missing pieces of the puzzle. One of the most enduring theories posits that MH370 was the victim of a carefully planned hijacking. Proponents of this theory point to the deliberate nature of the plane's course change and the disabling of its communication systems as evidence of foul play. Some speculate that the plane was hijacked by terrorists, intending to use it as a weapon in a future attack. Others believe that the hijacking was motivated by more personal reasons, such as a disgruntled passenger or crew member seeking revenge. Another theory, popularized by best-selling author James Patterson, suggests that MH370 was deliberately flown to a remote location and landed possibly on a hidden airstrip. This theory, while seemingly far-fetched, gained traction due to the lack of wreckage found in the suspected crash zone. Proponents of this theory argue that the plane could have been hijacked for its cargo, which included a shipment of lithium-ion batteries, or for the passengers themselves, some of whom held valuable intellectual property rights. Yet another theory, perhaps the most unsettling of all, suggests that MH370 was the target of a state-sponsored act of aggression. Some have pointed fingers at Russia, alleging that the plane was hijacked and flown to a remote location in Central Asia. While there is no concrete evidence to support this claim, the theory gained traction due to the involvement of Russian nationals on board the plane and the geopolitical tensions between Russia and the West at the time. Adding to the intrigue surrounding MH370 are a series of strange clues and eerie coincidences that have fueled speculation and left investigators scratching their heads. Several pieces of debris from MH370 washed ashore on the coasts of Reunion Island, Mozambique and Tanzania. These fragments raised more questions than answers. The debris locations suggested ocean currents carried the wreckage far from the crash zone. Some debris showed signs of tampering, hinting at a possible cover-up. Then there are the eerie coincidences. A passenger had filed a police report days before the flight, claiming his life was in danger. He received death threats after developing a revolutionary technology. Another passenger was traveling with a stolen passport. Authorities dismissed it as identity theft, but some speculated ulterior motives. The pilot, Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah, was an experienced aviator. His behavior before the disappearance has been scrutinized. Investigators found a flight simulator at his home with data showing a similar route to MH370. This fueled speculation that Shah may have deliberately flown the plane off course. The lack of a definitive answer has led many to believe that there is more to the story of MH370 than meets the eye. Some whisper of cover-ups, of information deliberately withheld from the public, of powerful forces at play. One of the most persistent claims is that the authorities, particularly the Malaysian government, have not been entirely transparent in their handling of the investigation. Critics point to inconsistencies in the official narrative, the slow pace of the investigation, and the alleged suppression of key evidence. Some believe that the Malaysian government, eager to avoid embarrassment or protect its own interests, may be hiding the truth about what happened to MH370. Others go even further, alleging that the plane may have been shot down by the Malaysian military or a foreign power, and that the crash is being covered up to avoid a diplomatic incident. Fueling these suspicions is the fact that the black boxes, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, have never been recovered. These devices, crucial to understanding the final moments of the flight, could hold the key to unlocking the mystery of MH370. However, some experts believe that the black boxes may be located in an area of the ocean floor known as the Seventh Arc, a remote and treacherous region characterized by deep trenches and underwater mountains. Recovering the black boxes from such a challenging environment would be a monumental task, requiring specialized equipment and expertise. Until the black boxes are found, the truth about MH370 is likely to remain elusive. The families of those on board are left to grapple with the agonizing uncertainty, their grief compounded by the lack of answers. Some say it was a simple tragedy, a catastrophic mechanical failure, or a tragic case of pilot suicide. Others believe it was something much darker, a deliberate act of terrorism, a state-sponsored hijacking, or even a sinister plot involving shadowy organizations. In the end, the fate of Flight MH370 remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. The disappearance of a sophisticated airliner in the 21st century, seemingly without a trace, is a stark reminder of the vastness and power of the natural world and the limits of our understanding. The story of MH370 is a haunting reminder of the fragility of life, the enduring power of hope, and the relentless pursuit of truth, no matter how elusive it may seem.